Is this thing on? It is. All right. We are live. Welcome back to another video talking ball. I'm Shoot DaRock, and once again, we are going through another college basketball week preview. Contrary to what Jeff Goodman says, while, there's some slower slates this week, there's always good stories to talk about in college basketball. No marquee non-conference events this week, but we do have the start of Big East play. Plus a couple other good non-conference games. So going to touch on those, give my predictions. Make sure if you're watching here live on Twitch, give your predictions here live in the chat. If you're watching after on YouTube or Spotify, make sure to comment your predictions down in those chats. And if you're down there, make sure to like the video, subscribe, or follow the channel, and let's get into it. Today we might have had one of the worst takes I've ever seen, and I have to start the show with this. So, Joel Klatt today, a college football expert. I do want to let you in on that, and I actually do kind of like him for the most part. But that changed today. He said, "Hot take: we don't want Cinderellas. We want the best teams play each other at the end. The NCAA basketball tournament is a joke. It's the dumbest tournament and the least fair tournament in all of sports." This might be the worst take I have ever seen ever. College basketball is March Madness is maybe the one tournament that everyone just universally loves. Granted, there's some people, higher up in college basketball trying to learn it, expand the tournament to, 76 or even more teams. But college basketball, honestly, that's the kind of basis of my brand here is a lot of people do not care about college basketball until March Madness because of how great that tournament is. They don't watch all year and then are just locked in on March Madness. And I'm, kind of trying to grow awareness for hey, there are great games. There are great stories that you might not hear about in March that have been going on since November. And I'm going to try not to get too much into the college football side of this because this is a college basketball show. And this has kind of been one of my biggest takes. And I'm almost just kind of glad Joel said it outright. In every other sport, we want Cinderellas. For some reason, that's not the case in college football. I guess he just doesn't want them in college basketball either. And that's the thing I don't understand. If you can't, the games have to matter. If you cannot beat, like he's saying here in this clip, Kentucky, lost to whoever. If Kentucky can't beat St. Peter's, Oakland, I hate to break it to you, Joel, Kentucky is not the best team in the nation. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. All these people, they just want to play these hypotheticals of, this team would be favored. They have no shot. What are we talking about here? And that's also part of the reward is, hey, Kentucky, you've been really good this year. So you get to play a not very good team in your first couple of games to gear you up for these lesser games. And that's the same thing here in the college football playoff. Hey, Oregon, you've gone 11-1 this year. You get to host James Madison in a game that you most likely are going to crush James Madison. But for that one time that maybe happens, for example, look at Notre Dame last year, who was in the national title game, lost to NIU, that the Cinderella wins, it's the best. Everyone loves it. It's a great story. And yeah, if they played 10 times, would Notre Dame probably beat NIU 9? Yes, but that one day they didn't, and that's what matters. And I agree, juice box season right here. Cinderella stories in college basketball is amazing. So it's just nonsense from Joel here. Like I said, I really did like him before this, but now it's just kind of all right, well, you show your true colors. And honestly, I think that's a lot of these people, they just want clicks, they just want takes. And I just don't get this. This just makes zero sense to me at all. But honestly, I'm glad, kind of see these media people showing their true colors of hey, they don't actually like the sport. Like I said, I kind of even joked about it with Jeff Goodman here. He's saying about how there's, today's college basketball slate sucks. Go do something else. And yeah, in all honesty, was I super locked in on college basketball tonight? No. But to just say it sucks and there's no good games, no reason to watch, I think is just ridiculous. There's so many good stories across college basketball, so many good games every night that you might not be looking for. So let's get into some of those good games for this week. First, Tuesday at 7 Eastern on ESPN, the 11th ranked Louisville Cardinals, 9-1 on the year, head to the 20th ranked Tennessee Volunteers, who are 7-3. This one is at the Food City Center. I guess that's the name of Tennessee's arena right now. Louisville currently, or actually no, it's changed. Tennessee is now a 1.5 point favorite in this one with a total set at 158.5. So scrolling down here, Tennessee has not played since they lost to Illinois in Nashville. Not this past Saturday, but the previous Saturday. So it's been, going to be, what is that, like 10 plus days, 11 days since they've played their last game. So they're going to be well rested in this one. But as you can see, not really playing a great brand of basketball coming to this one. Like I said, they lost to Illinois, but then losses to Syracuse and Kansas at the Players era. Louisville, on the other hand, won their last two marquee games, last two Saturdays, taking down Indiana and then just routing Memphis here on Saturday. So Jacoby Gillespie, the leader for Tennessee, averaging 17 points per game. It's Ryan Conwell for Louisville, averaging 19 points a game. But him and Michael Brown are really kind of the dynamic backcourt duo there for the Cardinals. And this is one. Looking at the projections here, one has Tennessee winning. And that's, kind of here the home court advantage does that maybe factor in. That could be kind of the difference in this spread here, why it flipped. One does have Louisville winning. The big thing for me, though, in this one is just Louisville's ability to score the ball as opposed to Tennessee. Well, as you can see there, Louisville averaging 94 points per game to Tennessee's 80. Louisville on KenPom as the second-ranked offense as opposed to Tennessee, who has the 38th ranked offense. And like I just said, that those two really good backcourt guards I'm really impressed with for Louisville. I think, they should play a really big role in this one. So I'm actually going to go with the underdog, the road team here, and I'm going to go with Louisville to take this one. I mean, when the spread's that close, you might as well, I'm just taking them on the money line now that they are the underdog. So give me the Cardinals to win this one. Then moving on, we got the start of Big East play this week with DePaul taking on St. John's. DePaul's 8-3 on the year, heading to the 22nd ranked St. John's Red Storm, who are 6-3. This one's at 7 Eastern on Peacock. St. John's is currently a 19.5 point favorite in this one with the over/under set at 152.5. Now, usually I probably would not be talking about this one, but DePaul actually has been better this year. I want to give them a little shine. They picked up a nice win at Wichita State over the weekend, a quad one win, for the Blue Demons. CJ Gunn, their leader, who's averaging 14 points per game, had 18 big points off the bench in that one, leading the Blue Demons to the win. So St. John's, they get a nice win against Iona over the weekend. They've played, a nice win against Ole Miss a couple weeks ago. Bryce Hopkins is their leader, but, they still got guys like Zuby Ejiofor as well as, who else? There was someone else I wanted to shout out in this one. Oh, and Ian Jackson. Ian Jackson's been playing better as of late as well for the Red Storm. Let me just look here quickly at the projections. I'm definitely going with St. John's to win this one, especially with it being in the Garden. I have a hard time seeing them not. It would be a monumental upset for this one to win, and both the projections are looking like here they probably will win by over 20 points. So for that reason, give me St. John's and give them to cover the spread. Then the final game we're going to touch on here on Tuesday. The Butler Bulldogs, another Big East game, 8-2 on the year, 1-0 in Big East play after knocking off Providence this weekend. Head to the 5th-ranked 10-1 UConn Huskies. This game is the second game of that Peacock, or no, it's not even a doubleheader, it's just also on Peacock, but at 8:30 Eastern. UConn currently a 14.5 point favorite in this one with a total set at 148.5. So like I mentioned, Butler already with a win in Big East play. A 2-overtime thriller against Providence, 113-110. Finley Bizjak's their leader, but it was Michael Ajayi going for 28 points in that one for the Bulldogs. On the UConn side, their only game last week, they took down Texas. Or no, they had 2 games last week. My apologies. They took down Florida in the Jimmy V Classic, and then a nice win at home on Friday night against Texas. Solo Ball still their leader in that for the Huskies scoring-wise, but Braylon Mullins, now that he's been healthy, he's been playing pretty well for the Bulldogs. And Alex Caravan had a good game against Texas as well. This is one, UConn's just the better team. Butler really has been fun to watch. Like I said, those 2 guards of Bizjak and Ajayi, definitely would check them out if you have not yet this year. But definitely like UConn to take this one. Looking at spread-wise, I probably, in all honesty, would have to agree with that too, of taking the spread. It's looking like here, yeah, they're projecting UConn to win this one pretty handily as well. So give me the Huskies to cover that spread as well as winning outright. Then moving on, rest of the games here on Wednesday. Florida State at Dayton on CBS Sports at 7 Eastern could be a good one. Robert McRae's a really good guard there for Florida State. Dayton, I've watched them in person against Marquette this year. They were a little shaky in that game, especially now given that Marquette has not looked good at all. But Dayton's actually favored in this one. Plus, it's just kind of interesting to see a power conference team playing at Dayton. So I definitely would check that one out. Then also at 6 or 7 Eastern on ESPN2, we got the Palmetto Bowl rivalry, South Carolina and Clemson. South Carolina's projected to win by double digits. That's why I didn't really feature it. But both teams have some guys that can fill the bucket, so that one could be entertaining. Throwing a quad box there if you're looking for some more games. And then probably the mid-major game of the day, UC San Diego. As you can see, they're 62nd ranked team on Haslametrics. I forget what they're ranked here on KenPom, but the Tritons, they were a team. They're 87th on KenPom. Their team, made the NCAA tournament last year, gave Michigan a tough game. They're looking really good again here this year. Now they head to a tough Loyola Marymount squad. Projected to be a close game. So if you're looking for a mid-major game on ESPN Plus late night, definitely would watch that one. Now moving on here to Wednesday. First game, more Big East play that we will touch on. The 5-5 Creighton Blue Jays head to the 8-3 Xavier Musketeers. This one's in Cincinnati at the Cintas Center. And no lines out yet because it is a Wednesday game. But the matchup projections actually, according to ESPN's BPI here, actually has Creighton winning. And is very surprising to me just because of how bad the Blue Jays have looked, in all honesty. As you can see, lost there to Kansas State. They were down big early, did come back and made it a game, but still just really not super impressive for them, as well as getting blown out by Nebraska the week before. Josh Dix is the Blue Jays leader, averaging 12 points per game. That too, just really not when your leader's only averaging 12 a game, that's when things are going rough. Plus, without Jackson McAndrew, it has been a pretty difficult sledding here for the Blue Jays. On the Xavier side, wins against Missouri State. That one was on Friday, pretty handily. Winning their last tough game against Cincinnati in the crosstown shootout. Trey Cale's their leader, averaging 16 points per game. Had a big one in that Cincinnati game. I want to say he went for 30 points or something like that. So definitely a guy that can fill the bucket. Looking at the projections here, it's got Xavier winning it, and that's what I'm just kind of saying. It seems kind of weird here that the matchup predictor on ESPN has Creighton winning. Like I said, just how they've kind of struggled as of late. Really just not scoring well, really not playing good defense. You can see allowing a lot of points, even to Nicholls State giving up 76 points. I just don't really like their defensive ability, and I just don't think they're really able to outscore teams. You can definitely tell. No, Ryan Kalkbrenner has been there for a couple of years, as well as Stephen Ashford. This Creighton team, it's definitely a bit of a transition year. Haven't been as good as they were hoping for. So with it being in Cincinnati too, I'm going with Xavier to take this one. Then the next Big East game, also on Fox Sports 1 at 8:30. Georgetown 7-3 on the year, heads to 5-6 Marquette. Another kind of story of Marquette, a team that was expected to be a tournament team, be a good team, really just has not panned out well at all this year for the Golden Eagles. So led by Chase Ross, averaging 18 points per game, but as you can see, losses in 3 of their last 4. Their only win coming in overtime against Valparaiso, so really not impressive there. But Georgetown on the other side looked really good to start the year, winning at Maryland. Granted, Maryland not as good as we were, as people maybe were hoping for. But it took St. Peter's. It took overtime to take down St. Peter's in that last game here for the Hoyas, as well as then losing to UNC pretty handily, and then losing both their games in Orlando over Thanksgiving week to Miami and Dayton. Their leader is KJ Lewis, averaging 15 points per game for them. Him and Malik Mack are kind of the two go-to guys here for the Hoyas. Looking at the projections in this one, it's projected to be a pretty close game. Both are looking at 2-point game, 4-point game, but both have Marquette winning, and this is one. It's kind of put up or shut up time for Marquette. This is, I definitely think, a tier lower in opponents than a Purdue and a Wisconsin. Georgetown, while sneaky here at the beginning of the year, really just have not looked as good as of late. So for that reason, I am going to go with Marquette to win this one. Then the final game of this Fox Sports triple header here on Wednesday at 10:30 Eastern. The 9-2 Arizona State Sun Devils head to the 7-3 UCLA Bruins, a former Pac-12 clash in this one. So Arizona State came from behind to beat Santa Clara over the weekend, 82-79. Santa Clara, while it's maybe not a logo that jumps off the page, is a really quality mid-major team here. They're right kind of on the bubble cut line for the W, to make the tournament. And granted, Gonzaga's still here in the WCC, but I don't know, maybe the Broncos could go on a run here. UCLA, they lost to those aforementioned Gonzaga Bulldogs. Gonzaga's now beat both these teams this year, 82-72, so definitely played them a lot closer than Arizona State did. And that game was close in the first half. It was really the second half of Gonzaga kind of turned it on. So looking here, Tyler Bilodeau, leader for UCLA, Mo Odom, leader for Arizona, plus, Masor Masat Diop or something like that. I always forget that guy's name for Arizona State. So him and Bilodeau going at it should be pretty good. Plus, Donovan Dent and then Mo Odom here on the kind of guard side should be a good matchup as well. So as you're seeing here, the BPI is really favoring UCLA in this one. I do just think the Bruins are a better team. They were ranked last week, followed the rankings after that loss to ASU. Plus, this game, being at Pauley Pavilion, a home game here for the Bruins, I just kind of like their weapons a little bit more, and just with kind of the guys I got, or, with it being a home game. So give me UCLA to take that one over Arizona State. Then one other game I want to touch on here quick on Wednesday. We got the 13th ranked Vanderbilt Commodores, 10-0 on the year, slowly climbing up the rankings here. Head to a 4-5 Memphis Tigers team. This one's at 7 Eastern on ESPN2. Memphis got blown out by Louisville over the weekend, like I kind of talked about earlier. Vandy win against Central Arkansas, so nothing really crazy, but looked really good in there. Like I said, winning Battle of Atlantis, beat SMU pretty handily in the ACC-SEC Challenge there. They're led by Duke Miles, averaging 16 points per game, but Tyler Tanner's also a guy I can feel about. He's had multiple 30-point games in this one. As you can see, Vanderbilt's averaging 95 points per game, granted maybe not against as tough of opponents, but this should be a test here heading to the FedEx Forum. Memphis led by Doug McDaniel, averaging 14 points per game, and Memphis, another one of those teams, just really kind of been disappointing this year in all honesty. I think this is one, too, where you're going to end up seeing the Vandy crowd kind of travel across state with it being an in-state game. Actually, Warren Nolan does project this to be like a one-point game, be a close game. So, I don't know. Maybe Memphis could kind of, shock the world a little bit here. But, like, as you're just kind of seeing there, like, got blown out by Louisville. Did beat Baylor at home, but Vandy's a lot better team than Baylor. I'd be really hard-pressed to take the Tigers to win this one. So, for that reason, give me the Commodores to take it. Then looking at kind of the rest of the games here for Wednesday. Definitely more games here on Wednesday. I think I really kind of touched on all the major ones. USF and Alabama could be, a decent non-conference game. USF, one of the better American teams, with Alabama, really good team there. Not projected to be particularly close. St. Louis in action. The Billikens really are building a very solid at-large resume at this point, so I'd like them. Oregon hosts Portland on Big Ten Network if you're looking for one there. We got a conference game in Air Force and San Diego State on CBS Sports Network. I forget if they have an earlier game. It does not look like it. I would say Loyola Chicago, San Francisco, but Loyola Chicago just lost to Chicago State over the weekend. They're just looking absolutely terrible. So yeah, I think that's really kind of it. Santa Clara, North Texas could be a good one where both teams should be solid. Santa Clara, like I said, actually has been really good this year, even better than expectations. So they're projected to win pretty handily, but with that game being at North Texas, you never know. Then moving on, Thursday's a slower slate as well. We got some Missouri Valley Conference games. Illinois State at Southern Illinois projected to be a close one. Bradley, Indiana State projected to be pretty close. Drake and Murray State. Murray State's, one of the top teams in the league here. So definitely check out some Missouri Valley on Thursday if you're looking to watch some college hoops. Other than that, I think that's about it. And then Friday, there'll be one game here that we are going to preview on Friday. But we got Seton Hall, Providence, another Big East game. Seton Hall's been playing pretty well as of late. Got a nice win over Rutgers over the weekend, looking really solid. Providence, like I said, lost that close game to Butler, so it's projected to be a close one. Plus, it being in Providence, that one should be a really good one. Belmont, UC Irvine's projected to be a close one. Two of the better teams in their respective mid-major leagues as well. South Dakota State, Milwaukee, the first game of the Milwaukee Hoop Showdown. That's projected to be a close one. That one's in Milwaukee too, so that one could be interesting. And then the second game of that one we'll preview here quickly. We got Wisconsin 7-3 on the year at 8-2 Villanova Wildcats. Like I said, this one is at the Pfizer Forum, so neutral site game. The second game of this Milwaukee Hoop Showdown, that one will be at 8 Eastern on Fox on Friday. So Wisconsin didn't play over the weekend, but got destroyed by Nebraska on Thursday, losing by 30 points. Not a great game after, nice wins in their previous two over Northwestern and Marquette. Villanova, they bounced back from getting clobbered by Michigan during the week with a nice win over Pitt. Bryce Lindsey, leader here for the Wildcats, averaging 17 points per game. And they've kind of had some other, like Devin Askew's played all right for them as well. And I forget, there was one other guard I wanted to highlight here for the Wildcats. Who was? Oh, Tyler Perkins. Yeah, so those kind of three are like the three-headed monster in the backcourt for the Wildcats. On the Wisconsin side, they're led by Nick Boyd, averaging 20 points per game, as well as, John Blackwell is still there for the Badgers. This one, I think it could be a good game. But I don't know. It's just one of those things with it. While it is a neutral site, being in Milwaukee, it's going to be a very Wisconsin crowd. I feel like it's projected to be a close game. I'm looking at it here. Do we actually have? But I don't know. I just kind of like those guards from Wisconsin a little bit more. What I've watched them. Because Villanova at times has struggled. Really in kind of both their like competitive games against BYU and Michigan here. They've just kind of got blown out. I guess if you want to call Pitt a quality opponent, sure. But I don't know. I just kind of like how Wisconsin's looked against their bigger, fiercer competition than Villanova has. So for that reason, I'm going to go with the Wildcats to take this one. So that's going to wrap up the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like I said, make sure to comment your predictions to these games down below in the comments. Going to shout out a couple people that drop some correct winners while you're down there. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, follow the show. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.